This is the 79 Podcast, episode 197. You are looking at Travis, Eric, and Michael. We're doing our thing here. We're going to talk about 50 First Dates. Does it hold up? Does it not? Bottom line, no bullshit, straight facts, straight dope, if you will. But that'll happen in a little while. Please email the show, cinema9pod@gmail.com. Give us 5-star reviews, subscribe to our YouTube, blah, blah, blah. We have one email today. We'll get right into it, gents.
Oh.
How about this?
That's fun.
Pods for movies I haven't seen. Hey, guys. This is from Joe, who recently was on Travis's 93-94, talking about some terrible Sublime record I never heard of. Hey, guys. Responding to, I did like the title, though, Robin the Hood. That's fun. Responding to a comment from a few shows ago, it was asked if anyone listens to episodes where the listener hasn't been seen the main film discussed, given the spoilers nature of the discussions. When I first started listening and then decided to go through the back catalog, I only listened to old episodes of films I had seen. However, after completing that list, I decided to listen to episodes of films I had not seen and found out that I enjoyed hearing them. Interesting. Most of the time it was because I got insight into films I was likely never to watch, horror specifically, but plenty of others, in parentheses. And even more interesting, I found at least one film I went out of my way to go watch that I had previously dismissed. Hot Tub Time Machine. Oh,
okay.
For whatever reason, when it came out, it didn't have the word of mouth among my friend group, and I thought it was going to be a dumb, cheesy movie. After listening to your episode on it, I decided to give it a try, and I really enjoyed it. Cheers, Joe Lowry. About that, that's fun.
All right. Listening, even if you haven't seen them, I could never do that. I can't even watch a preview for a movie. Yeah, I would never do that. But that's cool. I'm glad he's enjoying it.
Be a difficult line to cross for me. Yeah. Also, last night on Is It Safe, Steve told me, a friend of the show, Steve Guile, said that he would not watch the movies and just listen. In fact, the last couple of ones, Philadelphia, he's like, I'm never going to watch that. He's never seen it. He won't watch it. He was adamant about it. And
okay. Can't fucking make me watch Philadelphia.
Yeah, but he still listens or watches. So I guess this is a thing.
That's cool. To each their own.
Eric, I don't know how you feel about this.
You know, I listen to a few other movie podcasts, and one thing that I like about us is that we don't just like summarize the entire movie from like the first scene to the last scene. So many podcasts do that. I think it's a mistake. It's like, what is the point of that? And then Mark goes into his boss's office and wonders why. It's like, well, how did that?
Proud.
Yeah, I like our show.
I like our show too.
I do too.
Right.
So we have so we got the 200th episode coming up. This is episode 197, and so we did compile a list of movies that we haven't seen, or at least one of us has not seen.
No, I think it's all three of us have not seen. That was the idea. The list should be movies that none of us have seen. All three of us.
But the list is movies added that I haven't seen, and then they get eliminated if you've seen them. That's the point. Like, I've not seen this movie.
So at this point,
okay, so I should be deleting them if I've seen them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been over that and over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the list is maybe not complete then after all. Great.
This will take me a minute. I'll do it during the Destin Thompson bullshit.
Oh, great. Good. Go ahead. Cool. Keep an eye on that thing. So we're going to do that. That'll be fun. And we'll pick the movie as we narrow down to a top 6, which you guys will get to vote on. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll let you guys go to town on it until we get to about episode 199. We'll cut it off, and then we'll do whatever gets selected for episode 200. Cinema 9 presents episode 200.
It's coming.
But it could be fun. Yeah. Anything else on that?
I guess, we'll have to come back to that once Eric's done what he was supposed to do, any other time than when we were.
I added a shitload. But I was a bit unclear about that.
It's not your fault. Well, let's get to quarantine viewing picks then. Travis, why don't you take control of the board?
All right. The Bear is back. I'm about halfway through season 3. Yeah, it just dropped I don't really like it when all episodes drop at once, but that's how they do it. All episodes dropped, I think, either yesterday or today. And so I started my morning with it. I'm like halfway through the 4th episode, and the Variety's review was scathing. It was called it meandering and like depending too much on star power.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite halfway through, but I mean, the first episode is literally a 40-minute montage of things happening out of order. Like, it's just like this dream sequence practically. And it kind of sets the stage for what seems to be the feel of the whole season. Seems to be really like, I don't know, man. It's like Terrence Malick with a lot more screaming in the kitchen. It's very like, just, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but I do know how I feel about For All Mankind. Since I'm on break, I had time to blur through the remaining of those episodes, and this show, you guys, this show has got some of the most unique script writing I've seen. I mean, you're following these characters over the course of like 30, 40 years of their lives. So never mind the fact that I told you guys before, the premise of the show is that the space race never stopped. It just kind of kept going and going. And so it's an alternate universe, basically, like an alternate timeline. So it's all science fiction, but it's taking place in the past. I just finished season 4. That's like the early 2000s that it's set in. But I mean, you're like following these characters, and since you're following, it kind of reminds me of The Wire or something like that, where it's like you got all these different characters at all these different levels. Because I mean, you have like astronauts, and you have the people that like are at Houston, and then you have like the millionaire guy who's trying to do his own thing, and then you have the Soviets doing their stuff, and you have like the grunt crew, and you have all these different characters that are being developed throughout. And since you're following them over the course of like 30, 40 years of their lives, you're seeing like all these alliances form and then like fall apart, and like their motivations change, and like the characters change so much, but like it's all so fluid. It's really some of the most exciting storytelling I've seen on television, and I cannot recommend For All Mankind enough.
Daniel Stern?
Fantastic. Daniel Stern entered the 4th season, yeah. So that would be my main recommendation.
Looking at right now,
Marv?
Disbelief. Joe Mannequin.
On the other end of things, for the first time in my life, I watched Escanaba into Moonlight.
I never saw that either. That should be added to the list. Well, not anymore because you watched it. But.
Have you seen it, Eric?
Yeah, we watch it because our cabin's in Escanaba.
Yeah, I knew you'd seen it, so I was thinking about adding it to the list that we were doing. And I'm like, well, I knew you'd seen it, so I was like, I'll just watch it. And what a fucking weird movie. I mean, I was not prepared for it to be as trippy as it is. It's very strange, and extremely low budget. I mean, this is like what, 2001. I'm like, what is he? Is this like nickels he's rubbing together to make this movie? I mean, it's so low budget. It's bizarre, and the comedy stylings of Harv Presnell were not something I was prepared for.
No Gene, no goddamn money.
Not the most racially sensitive movie I've ever seen either.
No. Well, I mean, Northern Michigan. Maybe it's accurate. Who knows?
Sure. I revisited Ski Patrol, which I've seen many times since I was a kid. I sent the two of you a clip of that film and got no response to that. So presumably you either didn't see the clip or
I dreamed that clip.
Yeah. I sent them the clip of, if you're familiar with the film Ski Patrol, it's what's his name, TK Carter from The Thing, and some other dude like a white guy dressed up like Tina Turner, and they're like dancing around, doing Dancing in the Streets, and it's just very, very 1990.
I love Ski Patrol.
Yeah, it's a classic. And then lastly, I watched the documentary Remembering Gene Wilder. I'm a pretty big Gene Wilder fan, and I felt like the documentary did him justice. Really, what it was they took his memoir, which is excellent, called "Kiss Me Like a Stranger," and they took the audio, the audio that he did for like the audiobook of him talking about his own life, and kind of fleshed it out, and did a lot of other interviews with that. So he's narrating his own life.
That's cool.
If you're a fan, yeah, it's very cool. If you're a fan of Gene Wilder, definitely check it out. I think it's on Hulu. I watched it there. Can't remember for sure, but Remembering Gene Wilder was pretty great. But yeah. Oh, and then Monkey Man. I watched Monkey Man with our buddy. Our buddy Corey, and frankly,
Monkey Man.
I mean, the new Dev Patel movie where he like directed and starred. It was funny because like I'm reminded throughout the movie, like, yeah, we're definitely living in a post John Wick universe. This looks like John Wick in a lot of places, but also some incredibly awesomely interesting camera movements and some suggestions that Dev Patel might be a really good director down the line. I don't know that he wrote, directed, produced, and starred, and maybe he spread himself a little thin for his first film. It was good. But I think the man could direct. I think he can direct, and it was definitely entertaining. But also, I was watching with a buddy. We kind of like talked our way through it some, so I didn't give it its proper due. But yeah, my main suggestion would easily be For All Mankind.
Well, I mean, Daniel Stern. That's the highlight for me.
Ooh. Oh, shit. Yeah, I got 5 here. Let me try to remember them this time. Man Without a Face, 1993, Mike.
Oh, Mel
Gibson.
Yeah.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Get out of here, kid. It's like the whole movie. It's a whole movie. Big Stahl's trying to get a look. He's like, get away. Back up.
That's a weird year for Mel Gibson. It was Man Without a Face and Forever Young in 1993.
Love Forever Young.
Year.
Man Without a Face, not good. Good. Not good. And I can't say the same about Audrey Rose, 1977. Anthony Hopkins plays this guy who like terrorizes this family because he's convinced that their daughter is the reincarnated, his daughter reincarnated. So he's like, I'm her father too, and they won't leave him alone. And like it's the most bizarre movie I've ever seen because it's tragic and like the events unfold and it's horrible, and then at the very end it's like touting the philosophies and positive nature of reincarnation and that belief, and it's like, but how do you explain this entire film? This woman got terrorized. Her kid ends up, I'll just tell you, the movie's fucking horrible. Her kid dies because she goes into a panic about like reliving events from her old life. And then Anthony Hopkins like, well, you see, I was right the whole time. And then the end is like, reincarnation is a wonderful thing. I'm like, what the fuck? Why don't you just left her alone and we would have been fine?
No.
Bizarre. Yeah, Possession. It keeps popping up on every single website nowadays for some reason. I don't know why. And I saw it a long time ago with Sam Neill and Isabella and Johnny. So I went back on YouTube. It's the only place you can find Possession. It's this weird psychological Lovecraftian horror. I don't even know how to describe it. And it ended, and I'm like, I had no, my mind was blank. I had no, like, I couldn't figure out if I liked it. I hated it. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. And it's got 2 of the most intense performances I've ever seen in a movie ever. Like, ever. You know, sometimes that can be like a bad thing because when you're over the top, it's like, this is just bad. And what are you doing? I can't make up my mind here. So if you're curious, go on YouTube and watch this fucking movie. God, it's so weird.
I had there was a Possession was a porno in DiBiase's closet.
I heard.
Yeah.
This isn't it.
Classic.
Oh.
You would know how you felt about that. This is
Yes. Very good. Excellent film.
Excellent film.
What am I missing? Owning Mahoney?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, last night, Owning Mahoney.
I love that movie. I love
From the
it.
first frame, Phil Hoppins, again, his pathetic, desperate face in over his head. It's like, oh, here we go again with this fucking guy.
True story. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, but like the second time around when you know it's just all going downhill, it's kind of like... Got a little dull for
John
me.
Hurt?
Got a little dull.
John
Hurt's like,
John
oh,
Hurt's
he wants ribs. He wants barbecue ribs. That's all he says the entire movie. Get him his ribs. Get him his ribs. Find out which casino he's going to and get those ribs ready.
I love it.
Bizarre.
Adam Driver. Good cast.
Yeah. I don't know. It's good. I think that I always miss one. I put
Doesn't matter.
5. Yeah, it doesn't. Who cares?
Yeah.
Write them down.
I really should.
Let's see. Sometimes I write them down. This one I did. And they are the following. Let's see. Oh, I finally watched The Invention of Lying. I had never seen it. I always skip over it for some reason, but I finally decided to watch this Ricky Gervais film.
Yeah, where he lets everyone know what fucking idiots they are for believing in any religion.
Yes, and I
Pretty much
love
the
it.
whole movie.
Heard about that.
Yeah, and I did enjoy that part of it, but the movie itself, not that great, I would say.
No, it's not.
It. Speaking of Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's one of many people. This movie's letting you know, like, Ricky, whoa, I'm a big deal. Everyone loves me. I'm Ricky Gervais. 'Cause there's a lot of people that just show up in this movie right quick for brief scenes, like Edward Norton and PSH and Louis C.K.'s in this. There's some funny moments, some really funny lines and jokes, but the movie overall, I got to tell you something. Jennifer Garner, I'm just not a fan of hers. I don't think she's a good actress. I don't. I think that she's got this giant forehead that bothers me, maybe. I don't know what it is, but as a human being, she might be really sweet. She might be terrible. I have no idea. You don't know who these people really are, but I can't recall liking her in any role. I really can't. I think she's boring. She's boring. So she's in the movie, and that makes it boring too. I went back to the COVID days and watched Contagion. I can watch that movie over and over again. I really can. I don't know why. It's just so watchable. It just moves so quickly, and I just like watching it. I don't know why.
I don't either.
Some people might not like watching it, but I like Soderbergh and I like the style, and that movie, it's got a great cast too, and it's just interesting.
No, it's a good movie. It's just very anxiety inducing for me.
I bet it is for you. I can see that. That makes sense. But I think after COVID, it was something people watched a lot. It's like, oh my God, this is Contagion, which it wasn't. But Contagion was a lot more deadly. It's kind of like the flu from 1919. But it's a fun movie. No, it's just a solid film I like watching. I went back and watched Greyhound from 2020, which is one I saw once with Tom Hanks about the battle for the North Atlantic in World War II, which is not often covered as much. I mean, there's been submarine movies, and of course, World War II, as Travis has stated, I have stated, we've all stated, has been done to death in film. But, this one's about a ship on the North Atlantic protecting merchant ships. It's a little different, I like it. It's solid. Classic Hanks, all business, very procedural, Eric, which I like, and it's good. It's fun. No, it's not fun. It's just a solid film again. Okay. Can't talk about that one. Can't talk about that one.
No,
I can't talk about that one.
Secret movies.
Man, I can't talk about all these. Crap. Yeah, I watched a lot of movies that I'd probably like to talk about on the show again. So I guess I'll leave that there. That's too bad. Those are a lot of fun movies. I watched Joker again. I hadn't watched it really since I watched it a few times, obviously, when it came out, and then on DVD or whatever I did for a while. And then I stopped watching it. And now it's been 5 years, and
wow.
It's a good film, man. It's an excellent film. And I've forgotten, I texted you guys, Joaquin had won the Academy Award for Best Actor that year. I just totally forgotten about that. I'm like, wow, that really happened? Holy shit. Joaquin Phoenix? What? He had won?
Never
for
heard
Best
of him.
Actor?
Never
Crazy.
heard of that person.
Never heard of him. Next. But he did. And you know what? He did a really good job. So why not? I can't remember who else was nominated that year in 2019 or for 2019, but it was I got to say this though. I'm almost guaranteeing everybody that Joker Full Ado is going to be shitty. It's going to suck. It just is. And I'm blaming all this on Todd Phillips for his Hangover run, which was all trash after the first one. He has no credibility with sequels whatsoever. So I don't care if it's a guy who won an Academy Award for his first time playing this role, and now he's coming back, and now Lady Gaga is in the house. It's just going to stun me if it's good. They're going to have to. I'm already assuming it's going to suck. I am. So,
Mike, I sent you that instant reaction when that trailer hit, and you agreed. It's just the greatest hits of the Joker original film all over again. Every single cool shot, like everything. Just let's do it again. It's the Hangover 2 all over again.
Unless they're playing us. Unless they're playing us big time. If it's the ultimate ruse, which would be kind of like, oh, that's kind of what the Joker might do maybe, but I don't believe that's what they're doing. So,
I mean, I can't wait. I'm just saying.
Todd I know. I'll watch it to right away. But
I can wait.
I can wait. I also watched the Batman since I hadn't watched it really since I watched it like 30 times.
The Batman.
That's right. It was fun. I liked it. I liked it again. I liked it so much. I'm really sad that we've been pushed to 2026 because I really want to see the next one. And it's like must see. Like it reminded me when The Dark Knight came out,
right? And
like what a moment in time that was. And then even after The Dark Knight was so good, The Dark Knight Rises anticipation. I love those moments. I mean, hell, we were 32 years old in 2012 when The Dark Knight Rises came out, but I remember being so fired up still. So it doesn't matter how old I am. I just love that feeling of getting so excited for a movie that I can't wait to see. And that doesn't happen all the time. It's special. So.
I'm glad you enjoyed your revisit of the Batman. Last time I revisited it for like the 5th time or whatever, you're like, how can you watch this over and over again?
Well, that's what I did. I had watched it so much, and I was done. I had to get away. and I took a break. So I'm back. So
yeah, it's still only been a couple years since it came out. You're still watching it more than most people would watch a movie that came out that recently.
That's true. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
SinemaNightPod@gmail.com. Email us about your movies that you watch. Tell us how bad Joker 2 is going to be. Having said that, let's move into the focal point of today's show.
Well, should we do the movie?
Oh, the list?
Now that he's edited the list, should we?
I'm all set.
We can each name our 2 movies so that listeners can start emailing us in.
We each get to pick 2 out of this final list. I'll read off the list real quick, and then you guys start thinking.
Why are you confused?
Pick 2.
You're in the same. You're in the same text thread as the rest of us.
So I'll pick 2 that I would want to see?
You need to read what we send you.
Yeah, each one of us are going to pick 2. So we'll have 6 that everybody can vote on. It's a nice number, a nice healthy number. It's not too small. We covered this in the last show. All right, so here's the final list of movies that we haven't seen, supposedly. It's Pat the movie, Meet the Feebles, Paul Blart, Mall Cop, After Earth, Sharknado, 50 Shades of Grey, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, MASH, Death Wish, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Battlefield Earth, Thunderpants. I hope Thunderpants wins. Hardcore Henry, Elektra, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, The Crow, Wicked Prayer, Neighbors, the Belushi version, Hard Boiled, The Killer, John Woo, Bad Taste, Strictly Ballroom, Body Double, Heavy Metal, the animated movie, Pink Flamingos, Smokey and the Bandit. Well, no, sorry. Well, I missed that one.
Damn it.
Sorry, guys. I missed that one. My bad. Dunstan Checks In. One False Move, Hustle and Flow, and Survivor Style 5 Plus.
Is that a porn?
I don't know what the
It is
fuck
not
that
a porn.
But aren't we?
I don't know what it is either.
I thought we were just gonna pick 2 movies for the people to choose from. Don't we all just the 2 of us each pick 2 movies?
I'm just reading on the list that we're picking 2 from. So who wants to go first?
Okay.
Does anybody ready?
Yeah, I know which 2 I'm gonna pick.
Okay.
Eric, we'll have you pick last since you clearly have not picked 2 until you're doing it in this moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. So my 2 are The Crow, Wicked Prayer, starring Edward Furlong, and Battlefield Earth.
Oh, fuck. They advance. It advance. All right. That's the game.
So those are 2 options. What about you, Mike?
I'm going to go, obviously, with Thunderpants.
Okay.
Just want to get it in the final round.
Trying to get listeners.
And I think I'll go with Dunstan Checks In.
What the fuck?
All right.
Well, I mean, dude, this is a no-brainer for me because we didn't even talk about the passing of legendary Donald Sutherland. So I'm going with MASH.
Oh.
All right. And Bill Cobbs. We lost Bill Cobbs, too.
And I'm going to go with Neighbors. John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd comedy.
Okay. So there it is. That's the final 6. Travis selected The Crow, Wicked Prayer, Battlefield Earth. I'm going Thunderpants and Dunstan Checks In. And Eric chose MASH and Neighbors, the Belushi Aykroyd version from 1982. Yeah.
So, just email us at cinema9pod@gmail.com. Let us know which one you think we should do. Of those 6, we'll post something on our Facebook, too. And you've got until the 199th episode, so that's a couple weeks.
Yep. More than enough time to select 6 films, one of those films.
Yep.
Okay. Good job, everybody.
We did it.
Donald Sutherland did pass. So good. I mean, what can I say? What else would anyone else like to say? What a tribute
Mike, you already said it in the text thread. It was his time. You were pretty much glad that he was dead, and he didn't deserve to live another day.
Yeah. And then I sent out the Bill Cobbs died, and you said that was appropriate or something like that. Like, yep, 90. He should be dead by now. Every time someone famous dies, Eric and I will let the others know, and then Mike will remark how good it is that this person has left this earth. Pretty much, like, oh, good, they're dead. We're rid of them.
Another one we can cross off the list.
Yep. Calling them greedy for wanting to live yet another day.
They were both 90. They had a good run. No regrets for Bill Cobbs or Donald Sutherland. So
Sutherland was 88.
Oh, well, close enough. Either way, it was a good life. And Donald Sutherland, there's so many bit parts he played which were so good, too. He was really great at that. Like when you guys exposed me to Backdraft. That was awesome. Yeah. JFK. I mean, an epic monologue. Yeah. So good. Wherever he was. Animal House is funny. He could do serious. Like you said, I've never seen MASH. I bet he was good in it, though.
Dude, he was great in the Hunger Games movies. He was so scary in those. He was good. Beer Fest?
Yes, and Beer Fest. Exactly.
Who could forget? Fucking
what
Beer
an
Fest.
Opening. Yeah.
Right.
Hilarious.
They got his ass to legitimize that stupid-ass movie that I love. You're right. And Bill Cobbs, he's been all over the place, from New Jack City to...
Demolition Man. Sopranos.
Exposition.
Yeah,
everywhere.
He's been around. Or he was around. He'll be missed.
Farewell, gentlemen. So long. Good luck in that afterworld that doesn't exist. All right. So now let's focus in on Travis's selection, 51st Dates. Travis, you picked this movie, so get us rolling here. Adam Sandler, classic.
So I can't tell you when I first watched the movie. I know I watched it when it was new, but not like brand new. So probably like 2000. It's from 2004. I probably watched it like 07 or something like that. And as I said on last episode, I'm a big Adam Sandler fan, and I wanted to bring him onto the show. And I really wasn't sure which movie to pick. And I think I picked the right one, because 51st Dates is, I think, it sits right in the middle of his career in a lot of ways, not necessarily in terms of chronology, but kind of like a theme, because the movies he did before this, for the most part, were just like silly, goofy, meaningless. You know, he had some inklings of some real stuff in there. I think he'd done Spanglish, for instance, by this point. So he did some serious stuff. Same year. Okay. So he was doing but this is still but this is very much an Adam Sandler movie. It feels like it's a Happy Madison production, right? But it's not like Little Nicky or Billy Madison, where it's just like completely goofball off the rails. So it still has a lot of that surreality that is a big part of his films, but it also has a little bit more of a plot and heart to it. So, not my favorite Adam Sandler movie by any stretch, but I feel like I chose a decent one for the show. Although whatever one I chose, I knew Eric was going to hate.
Do you want me to list the Adam Sandler movies I like? This is like, you just keep
it seems like
keep at it. I haven't said anything. I'm just sitting here quietly.
Okay. I'm not saying today you've said things, but in the past you generally are pretty dismissive of Adam Sandler movies.
Never saw this one. I worked at Hollywood Video at the time, and all I remember is putting this cover box on the shelf, and it took like 3 shelves up. And it's the last time I thought about the film.
There we go.
Definitely seen this movie probably a couple times. Don't know when or where. No idea. It's just so innocuous for me. There it is. There it is. I love Adam Sandler. I've always have, and I always will. I don't care what anybody says. That's my guy. Canniboo! Let's see. As far as the rating, what is the rating on this fucker, guys?
6.0.
Well, remember, the public loves Adam Sandler to a certain extent, I guess.
6.5.
Okay.
6.4.
Yeah, I'd say this is just a right down the middle 6.6 for me. 6.8.
All right.
Yeah, a little higher. A little higher. Yeah, it's directed by Peter Siegel. Don't know how he goes with that. No one cares. Drew Barrymore co-stars. She's great. And Rob Schneider is always there. Rob Schneider owes so much to Adam Sandler's. So much. It's just, you couldn't even really quantify how much he owes Adam Sandler. And,
that and all the many races that he parodies.
Just
parodies.
Like buffoon characters, like you don't even know what they are. He's trying to like be something that's not white, but like sometimes I don't even know what the fuck it is.
Rob Schneider in Race Face.
Yeah. Rob Schneider.
Face.
Well, it's like South Park did it best. Like Rob Schneider is a toilet. Rob Schneider is a carrot. That's just dumb shit he's done in his career. As far as Rotten Tomatoes for this film, that means the critics reviewed it. Now, Travis, am I to assume the critics are not always as kind to Adam Sandler as the public is?
I think that's a pretty safe guess.
Okay. Well, 45% from the critics. That's a splat. But that's I guess it could have been worse from the critics, I suppose. 65, a little lower than IMDb, but the audience says, this is good. This is fine. This will do.
Fine. This passes.
This passes the smell test. Critical reviews. Let's see. Ooh, looking for some fun names we haven't heard from in a minute. Man, I can't remember last time we heard from Goody Coons. It has been a while. I don't remember.
I feel like it's been years.
Yes, I do
Goody
too.
Coonless existence.
How about this one? Sarah Michelle Fetters. I'm trying to go for the Sarah Michelle Gellar type of cadence there. Moviefreak.com. After watching the duo reunite in 50 First Dates, it is instantly clear that the chemistry displayed in that older film wasn't a fluke. If anything, age has only been kind to the twosome in this regard. Yet she gives it 2 out of 4 stars. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's a little confusing. Oh. Wow. Oh, Richard Roper. He became on the scene. Why not? Richard Roper, who became part of Ebert and Roper. No Siskel. Blasts me to some, but hey, life goes on. This movie paints itself into a corner for which it cannot emerge without becoming an utter disaster, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, well, that's direct. Ann Hornaday, watching Post. 50 First Dates possesses an undeniable heart. The bad news is that it will still be buried underneath layers of stale Sandlerisms tomorrow and the next day and the next. Sandlerisms.
Yeah, there's a lot of Sandlerisms in this film, and which I take to mean not just like verbal statements, but just like, I don't know, interacting with pets that are like anthropomorphized, for instance. That's very Adam Sandler kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of walrus reaction shots. Like every 2 minutes, it's like, hey, walrus's dicks are big. And the walrus is like, oh! Like every 2 minutes.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
That's pretty good. Nice job. You definitely were paying attention, Eric. There's no doubt about it.
Walrus Dick, the movie.
I felt what you were saying there. No Desmond Thompson. Sorry, he's not going to comment on this one, apparently. I've looked thoroughly through these, but I am not. I don't know. I mean,
Honeycutt?
Maybe. No, Honeycutt, no Goody Coons. I've gone through the entire list. So I'll give you Ebert, of course. We always give him in. He was still around. The movie doesn't have the complexity and depth of Groundhog Day, but as entertainment, it's ingratiating and lovable. He likes it. He does. Fresh tomato from Roger Ebert.
I like that he touched on Groundhog Day, because this is like a weird take on that same day over and over again genre of film. Like it's adjacent to that, like Palm Springs, and that there's a whole bunch of movies that are like that, and then there's this one that just sits right next to that genre.
You're right. That's a good comp. That's a good call. I'm glad Ebert brought that into the fray here.
Yeah.
Lastly, just real quick, Peter Travers, Rolling Stone. Uneven, shapeless, and crushingly repetitive. So there you go.
Uneven and shapeless.
Crushingly repetitive. Yeah, so the Adam Sandler movie, Eric already gave us a few laughs with the walrus jokes and the woman who looks like a man who's lonely, which is funny. What a loser, you loser.
Yeah, androgyny is not quite the comedy gold that people may have thought it was 20 years ago. That all is very awkward. All of that is extremely awkward.
It's Happy
Madison.
Madison.
It's not funny. It's like who cares?
It's every single, I'm pretty sure, I could go down the checklist, and by now I think Happy Madison and M. Sandler have made fun of directly every single mental deficiency, physical deformity ever that anybody else besides Adam Sandler has, that he can just make fun of and be the leading man. Like, just go down the list.
But then he does what he always does in his movies here, right in the opening, where you get right away, you know what a stud Henry Roth is. But you get the classic, you get a bunch of, like, conventionally attractive women, and then there's always the one, just like in every Sandler movie, she was older, she was out of the mix compared to the other women, and I've always enjoyed that. That's his absurdity part of his movies that are always funny. So.
And Kevin James pops in there as well.
Yeah, sure.
As does his actual wife. His wife is Adam Sandler's actual wife is in that mix in the opening bit. But he's such a stud that he would rather squash his own balls on a stranger's jet ski than kiss a woman he'd slept with the night before.
Yeah, that's how frightening that is. That's how terrifying it is. So. Also, this is a paid trip to Hawaii for him. Oh yeah, obviously.
So I was thinking about that. So the movie was the original screenplay was a drama, and it was set in Seattle. And what's her name? Drew Barrymore got her hands on it and had been looking for something to reunite with Sandler with, and took it to him. And he obviously made some changes. One of which being, "Hey, I want to golf in Hawaii." And this begins like the whole stretch. I mean, as far as I know, this is the first of a long stretch of Sandler movies set in paradises, set in like on an African safari. When they, for instance, like he does all this kind of stuff. And partly it's like a naked, obvious, like, hey, I'm going to go on vacation and make a movie with my friends. Like, great, have at it. You're living the dream life. But also, a quote he said at the time was that there were not a lot of movies set in Hawaii. And I was thinking about it. And I can think of a bunch of movies that came out after this, The Descendants, Aloha, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, that were all set in Hawaii. But when I think about movies before this set in Hawaii, I don't know. East Blanket Bingo set in Hawaii.
What about Elvis does Hawaii? Did that ever happen, Eric?
Blue Hawaii?
Pearl Harbor, but that doesn't really seem, you know what I mean? Like it'd been a long time since a movie had been set in Hawaii, I feel like, off the top of my head. And that wasn't.
I'm sure they're real proud.
I got two for you here, because that diner was also in Tears of the Sun, and scenes from Jurassic Park were filmed right next door in open fields on Hawaii. So lands over there. Just two. Cool. So I only read that now. So
all right, that's fun.
So I guess that's not a real diner. They just made that house into a diner. It's a macadamia nut farm. How fun is that? Macadamia nuts. Any fans? Not bad. Pretty good.
Yeah, they're okay. Yeah, Rob Schneider in like Hawaiian face. Really, really cringy and bad.
Yeah. Let's take it back. Okay, so was it Big Daddy the first character he did, where he's the delivery driver who's a local immigrant in New York City? Is that the first of his
Hip Hop Anonymous?
Characters? Yes, his side characters that are supposed to be maybe again non-white. Not clearly. Apparently, in this movie, he's supposed to be a native Hawaiian.
Yeah, that's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. I don't know what the first was, but this wasn't
the
last.
Funny. Fuck him. Fuck that guy. Fuck Rob Schneider. He's not funny. He's never been funny. Okay, he was funny one time when he did Making Copies. I love that skit. I used to do it every day in 5th grade after I saw it for the first time. Sting. Sting-a-ling-a-ling-ding. I laughed. It was funny. But since then, he's not fucking funny, and he's just ridden the coattails of this motherfucker. Fuck him.
This movie would be better without him in it. That is 100% fact.
Yeah. He's also a piece of shit now anyways. He's an asshole. He is. This is all side stuff that I guess doesn't matter to the movie, but I'm throwing it out there.
Well, there's probably a reason why he's been popping into Adam Sandler's movies the last 10 years or so.
Damn right.
It's also been reported that like the budgets on these are like 3 times as much as they should be. And like, where's the money going to? It's going to all of his fucking friends so they can be taken care of.
That's great. Yeah. I wish we had that set up. Fuck, I would have taken advantage of it.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I have no issues whatsoever. Like, you sound like you're very judging him for this. I don't.
Anti-capitalism, the podcast, and like when then it turns out these guys are getting millions of dollars. We're like, hey, that's awesome. It's all good.
Well, look, I mean, that's true in almost every movie we watch. We didn't discuss the pay of fucking of the characters and the actors in Philadelphia. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they're blatantly overinflated, okay, yeah, I'm not really into rich people. But generally speaking, the idea of a filmmaker traveling around the world throughout his life, making entertaining movies that people generally enjoy with his best friends, I think that's great. I think he's living the fucking life.
Shit. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what capitalism only allows for, like one of those. We can't all do that. So
yeah, we don't all get to do that. Thanks, capitalism.
Thanks a lot, Bin Laden. By the way, this was the only of the Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore movies to be number 1 at the box office and crack 100 milli. So it was very successful as far as the Wedding Singer. I don't know. What's the other one they did together? I don't even know.
Blended, I think.
Oh, Christ. Yeah, I skipped that one.
It was fine.
But hey, you got Dan Aykroyd in here, the legend himself.
Yeah.
He's hanging out.
Did you catch the Tommy Boy references there?
I did. Callahan Auto Parts,
Callahan
Ohio.
Auto Parts out of
I
Sandusky,
wrote that
Ohio.
down.
Yeah, I never noticed that
awesome.
before.
Neither did I. That was fun.
Yeah,
I like references.
little Easter egg. It's fun.
Easter eggs are fun.
I feel like as a doctor, he's gonna be too busy to make these kinds of house calls for like a woman he's seen like 30 times already. But that's fine. we need to get old Dan back in the movie. We wanted it to be more than a cameo, and that's fine.
Is it pointless to kind of rip the script, or is that just too pointless in a movie like this? Did you put the pen down and say, okay, I'm just gonna put the pen down?
I took a lot less notes than usual, but in part because I don't really have full use of my right hand after surgery.
Oh, man.
This soundtrack needs to fucking cool it. Like every single scene has to start with this fucking like reggae needle drop. Every single scene has to start with this reggae needle drop. Every scene.
So what did you take from that? Did you have a takeaway from that?
Yeah, that it's like fucking Hawaii timeshare video, the movie. Like it's it's like
okay.
It's nothing but establishing shots with reggae in the background and like offensive jokes. Like that's what I took from it.
Maybe this is nitpicking, but I actually think maybe it isn't. First off, Sandler usually has great taste in music. I think he does have good taste in music. We get a moment of "Do You Realize" in here. It's a great song. Love that song.
Yeah, and it's also one of the few songs that isn't a cover. This movie's thick with like Caribbean covers, island music covers of like classic
one of them
80s
was really
songs.
good. What was it?
But that's the point, though. Maybe this is not a big deal, but this movie's set in fucking Hawaii. The Caribbean's way over there, man. It's over there. Way over there. Give me some Don Ho. I don't know. Give me some more Hawaiian music. I don't care what it is, but I just feel it's a minor detail, but it did bother me.
That's a good point. I mean, Eric was just talking about reggae. Jamaica's nowhere near Hawaii.
I know. Exactly. Yeah. But you okay, so let's talk about this condition and this repetitive nature of the Groundhog Day nature of this film, where Adam Sandler suddenly has a heart and he has to prove that he can be the ultimate man, that she will remember him. And so we get the pushback from the father and son. First off, Sean Astin's in this movie playing a
really cool guy. Just a really cool guy.
A guy with a lisp who's on steroids, who's not strong. So he's just sad. It's just a sad character.
Yeah, he's a tragic kind of loser.
Oh. And then that guy played by Farmer Fran once upon a time. That guy, he's always in Sandler movies. I love that guy. I don't know his name, but I love that guy.
I never learned it. I learn it, then I forget it every time.
I love that guy.
He's great.
That's cool, man.
Farmer Fran.
Farmer Fran, so funny. But so they're pissed. They're the extent to which they're going through for this daily routine that they've done to keep her in the same day. That is, I know this isn't a serious movie, but there's just so much of a mental strain there that the breaking point, watching that same Vikings tape every day, repainting a wall every night.
Repainting the wall.
Yeah.
That is,
the wall.
no, you would break. You would crack after like 2 weeks. But I can't do this anymore. This is insane. I want to live my life.
Well, I mean,
no more primer. I'll paint it again, but I'm done with primer.
And you're right that it's like, it's over the top. It's fictional comedy, but there is, I think, something to be said about the strains on caretaking, for when families they're forced to become caretakers and adjust their lives for the people that they love, and after some sort of tragic accident, which car accidents don't really typically cause Alzheimer's or just a form of amnesia. That's all pretty fabricated, but this condition exists. I mean, it's documented. It's not exactly like every 24 hours, like your brain resets.
Right, that's the thing. As soon as she goes to bed, then it all goes away. That's so movie. That is so movie fantasy. Like,
there's a quick.
That's like Groundhog Day. Don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep.
A quick Wikipedia glance. So this is very uninformed, but it was based on supposedly one woman that did have that condition where when she went to bed, she lost the memory of marrying her husband, who she'd already been with when she had the accident. She was already like engaged or like dating him, but then she didn't remember marrying him. So supposedly it's based on like a kernel of reality, but I mean it's a fucking amnesia movie. We can't that they bother to differentiate and show us the different kinds of cases that people might have at the hospital, for instance, is surprising enough in an Adam Sandler movie, let alone a Hollywood movie.
Another movie, by the way, that set in Hawaii, same beach, was used in From Here to Eternity.
Again, decades before this, though.
Correct, 1953.
Right.
All right, come on, Eric, hit me. Come on, give me some more.
That crash, that cow had to be like 200 miles away. Did you see like the maneuver that the truck like turned and it was like still like trying to like veer off the road for like 10 seconds? Like how far away was the fucking cow? I don't know, man.
For a pineapple. What? We're going for a singular pineapple? That just sounds so lame.
That can defy physics and rise out of the window. But I mean, that like you mentioned, and like at the beginning of the show, Eric, you're like, just keep talking. I haven't said anything, but you did say something on our text thread. You said you couldn't get through the first 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever.
I did turn this. I tried to do the right thing. It started, and like the first thing out of someone's mouth was like, "How's your balls?" And I'm like, "Oh God, it's fucking infantile." So I turned it off, and I said, I can't go in this hot. And I watched it the next day and gave it a fair shake. I did. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm coming in with preconceived notions, but like I said, there are many, many films by this guy that I enjoy. And like you talk about this 2004, I mean, this is 2 years after Punch Drunk, where I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Like, I knew you had it in you. And then he comes out with Reign Over Me, which is kind of a okay film, but it's still like, you have the chops. And then it's back to Penguins like doing double takes.
Right. And
Penguins in Hawaii?
My point being that this is a Happy Madison movie, and Happy Madison movies are more than just Adam Sandler movies, right? Because there's like to go back to the car crash. I don't know how much of this was Peter Siegel's direction, but I feel like in Adam Sandler movies in Happy Madison movies, there's always this element of the unreality. They're in more than most movies, they are not to be taken very literally, in my opinion.
Of course. So you take a condition like this and you have all this sentimentality around it, and then you say, well, I mean, this isn't really supposed to be real. Feels a little irresponsible to me, especially when they do go to the hospital. And of course, everybody but cutesy wootsy Drew Barrymore has to be an imbecile that has a condition like this. I don't know what to say.
Well, this is the thing, then. This is a stupid film, a goofy film that tries to get serious, and that's dangerous territory. That's where I remember feeling that once the conditions revealed and it gets a lot more in depth, and you have these emotional days where she has the day where she gets to learn the truth of her illness, her disorder, her permanent state. And that's happened before, as they kind of can allude to. Now it's like, okay, so we're talking about spam and, walrus farts or whatever and dongs. And now we're, getting real serious. And it was noticeable enough that it didn't really jive as well. It's a hard thing to do because I'm down with just watching a mindless, stupid movie. Of course I am. I watch all kinds of movies like that. But that was tough. I don't know if they were able to pull that off necessarily.
Yeah, it makes for some uneven filmmaking. The first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of the movie, the first act, is a lot more like shabba-dabba-you, kind of like how many goofy animals can we put in here? Here, look at this funny androgynous. Well, she's not funny. Androgynous woman, and like all this stuff that's a lot more like classic comedy,
homophobia jokes.
Did we get those? I don't remember those.
I don't remember those either.
I'm sure something about the two women together. Yeah, they were.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. I believe you. I'm sure there's more.
I don't kiss guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot. Yeah, and it doesn't. It feels old even by 2004 standards. It feels more like 90s almost. And a lot of that stuff is like just like, hey, let's hit him with the hard comedy before because we're gonna shift gears dramatically into a drama here in a moment. And yeah, it does make for some uneven terrain.
Yeah, it's just you're right. I know we don't like to get too much into script reduction. I suppose sometimes I know we've had a few tiffs on that, Eric. Where like, hey, sometimes this is how a movie has to be made, but we're like, he comes into the breakfast joint that morning, and the woman says, "I need to talk to you," but then she has to run away, and then Drew Barrymore comes in right behind, and then, oh no! I guess who cares? But I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I know that's happening. So.
Yeah, it's comedy of errors. It follows some pretty tried and true plot points. Granted.
Yeah.
I liked the dad, warm,
former friend
performance. I like this actor. I like the performance, and I like some aspects of the stuff I like about the brother is where they should have just been like, okay, not every character has to be this fucking stupid. Like, like there's good aspects about him. He's a kind caretaker to his sister, but it's like they were like, well, but we can't just have him be like that. How about he talks stupid? It's like, well, fuck you, Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, as someone who has a lisp, and I never find that very entertaining. When
eighth grade, it's like eighth grader first draft.
Well, and that's Sandler. That's Sandler stuff. That's Happy Madison stuff. It's all pretty juvenile, which it doesn't frustrate me because I know that going in. I guess is my expectation for these kinds of movies is for them to be pretty fucking silly.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. I mean, you have montages of him trying to do all these different setups. The war of the baseball bat. If that was a real bat, that guy would be almost dead. That's pretty serious. It's a minor detail, but that's violent. Very violent. If you took a baseball bat and swung at somebody 12 times, they may be in serious trouble. But, it's Kichi and fun. He's trying to make a connection with her. Also, marriage is a prison jokes. Obviously, this guy is so hit the fear of commitment, terror zone, classic. And he's got to overcome that. And will he overcome it? Is this the woman that will change his ways forever? That's right, America. There's a woman out there who will change you forever if you're just willing to try.
I don't know. She's making a log cabin out of waffles. My ways are changing now.
What I like
putting
about
my old life behind.
What I like about that, the waffle thing, which is silly, but I like that like someone, people are complex, right? So on one day he goes in there, he takes his toothpick and he puts it through and he makes a little door and she's like, wow, that's amazing. And she like kind of falls for him a little bit and they get flirty and they end up setting up a date and it all goes very well. And then on a different day when she's the same person with a different, her slate is blank. He does the same exact thing. She's like, what the fuck you touching my food for? Because who knows what put her in that mood either day. So there is some stuff here I think that's kind of interesting about what makes a person, what makes an identity, all that kind of stuff. The way that a person can, the way that she like makes her own journal and like trying to add to this stuff to try and like cobble together a life every day. So like every day she has to like learn who she is and like what she's currently trying to do with her life and all that kind of stuff. I like that stuff about it myself.
Yeah, this movie also commits the cardinal sin of endings. Anytime they do this in a movie ending, it will make your head spin. When a character just like adds it all up to themselves, like when he's on the boat, he's like, wait a second, this is why she did that, and that's why she did that. It's so movie. It's such a cheap way to have everything resolved and for the character to know about what's really going on. It's just have him discover it while he's thinking.
And it wasn't super obvious either. It really wasn't super obvious. He's like, she's remembering me. He's like, I'm like, where is he getting this from? What happened to him? I'm not sure.
Fair point.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point.
Yeah. Gary Busey, mental retardation jokes.
Yeah, that's common. I mean, Gary Busey's always fodder in film. It's always been that way. I feel bad for him. I actually do. I mean, he didn't want to have his life go the way it did, but he is funny though too. I have to admit, because he's such a character now. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit around and get upset that someone made a joke about Gary Busey.
Hey, don't talk about Gary that way, you bastard.
Adam Sandler crying in a movie when he's like fake crying in the beginning that he can't read, that's pretty dumb. But when he's crying on the boat to "Wouldn't It Be Nice,"
not real.
Makes me laugh. Oh yeah, it's still not real, but it makes me laugh every time. Like Adam Sandler like crying to "Wouldn't It Be Nice" just makes me fucking laugh. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh my god, this is so silly.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
Nice
I sent
try,
you
though.
that Brian Wilson clip, Mike. You're like, why are you sending me this? It's because I'm watching that scene and I was like, oh, I've had enough. I paused it and went on like a Brian Wilson rabbit hole that lasted like 4 hours. And I'm like, oh shit, I got to finish that movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, full
Incredible.
circle.
Do we feel like, I mean, so Eric, you made a comment. I feel like you made a comment either on the show or in the text or somewhere along the lines of like a movie about taking away consent from someone. Is that how you end up feeling about it? That she's like manipulated and that the character is being.
No, I like the way Drew. I'm not a huge Drew Barrymore fan. She's always like, cutesy wootsy apple pie, and then like that's it, like very one note.
Home
I
fries?
like the way they handle. I like the delicacy in his approach to saving her because no one else in her life besides her family is. Even though she seems to know everyone in town, no one else gives a fuck. I like the way that's treated. I got no issues with that. I even like the ending where it kind of arrives at a place that makes sense and doesn't seem goofy in terms of their relationship. No, I do like all that. I just think it's blending of sentimentalization and infantileness, juvenileness. It's an odd blend for me. But
Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Drew Barrymore. You're right. We didn't cover her too much. She does comedy well in times, and I can't really.
Never Been Kissed?
Yeah, there's that. I don't know. She started off as this child actress, right? The very child actor in Firestarter and E.T. And then she gets rebellious as she becomes a teenager with Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, showing David Letterman her boobs and Playboy and just total rebellion, pixie girl, manic pixie girl of the 90s. And we get all these rom-coms she does. And at this point now, I often felt that maybe there was more to her, but maybe she just likes to have fun. I don't know if she's an actress who's going to blow away anybody with a dramatic role. I can't really call one, frankly, in her adult life. Maybe. No, I really can't. I mean,
Boys on the Side?
Yeah, I was just thinking. That's the one I was thinking of, Boys on the Side. But yeah, she's funny. I like her because she's entertaining. She's nice to look at, and she laughs, and she makes me chuckle sometimes. And she is disarming, and that's okay. It could be just that.
Yeah, there's those actors that can come in and Gary Oldman it up and be chameleons, and then there's people that just kind of come in and like, hey, I'm going to play me for this role, and this role I'm going to play me too, and this next role, guess who? It's me again, and that's pretty much Drew Barrymore, and she's fine, she's likable,
hilarious, and Freddy Got Fingered.
Poison Ivy too. Just saying, where is it? I mean, let's change it up.
I'm sure
33 years later. Yeah,
I remember
many Poison Ivy.
I even remember when that came out. Even I was like, Drew, here, put this on. What are you doing?
Alyssa Milano, a lot of Poison Ivy, some good times.
Oh, there was more. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there was multiple Poison Ivies. All right, anything else here on this film called 51st Dates?
No, I think we've said it.
Well, then go ahead and say it all, Trev.
One thing, though, the word Howley does get thrown out there, which I have an acquaintance a white guy who was raised in Hawaii. And Howley is like it's an ethnic slur for white people in Hawaii. So I thought it was interesting.
Totally missed that.
It was when Rob Schneider, who is Rob Schneider in reality, a Howley, is beating the crap out of Adam Sandler on the side of the road, or faking that he's beating him up. He calls him Howley. I thought that was interesting that they kind of snuck that in there. But all right, so I went first. I'll go first because I chose this movie, and yeah, it holds up for me. It's very much just like it's a very light movie that we're wrapping this up a little bit under an hour. Does not surprise me because part of the reason I never picked an Adam Sandler movie before is because when you're dealing with comedies, and he's not only done comedies, but when you're dealing with comedies, there's typically less to talk about. And there's not a ton to talk about here. Eric, your remark about the it being both infantile and kind of sentimental at the same time, and how that kind of didn't work for you. I think that's partly why it does work for me. I do have a pretty asinine sense of humor about some things, especially stuff that I have nostalgia for. And if I watch this today, I'm not sure that I would have as much affection for it for the first time, But that kind of humor was of the late 90s, early 2000s. I was into all that kind of stuff, that kind of Adam Sandler kind of humor. And I've always liked mixing in a heart. And I think this movie has a really big heart to it. There's a lot of goofy, dumb shit. There's some stuff that kind of annoys me. Most of it's pretty funny. But overall, this movie, I think, it's just a sweet movie. And it's the kind of movie that I've thrown on several times over the years, just kind of like just a Saturday afternoon kind of kill an hour and a half, just be entertained, and just with a sweet little movie. And so it totally holds up for me. I like it.
Who's going next? Eric, me or you?
I laughed once, and I had to note it because it was only one time when Aykroyd's talking about how he wishes he had short-term memory loss. It was funny. He's talking about J. Edgar Hoover or something. It's one note. That made me laugh. But dude, you can put all the Bob Marley tracks on this you want to. It's still just, for me, it's not funny. It's not. I mean, even if these, like, you had all of these like tertiary characters like saying, like, everybody gets a line. This is Happy Madison. Like, Adam Sandler says something, and then like somebody watching it, like the cook, will say something, or the guy that's walking down the street will say something. It's just so tiresome for me. All these supporting characters that get these lines that just are not fun. It just wasn't funny for me. Like, there's some sweet moments. You're right. There's some sweet moments. There's tenderness. There's chemistry between Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. There's no doubt about that for me. But I just didn't bring the jokes. And when it tried to be funny, it was either like, I don't want to be a crew, but like it was offensive. Like Sean Astin was like, he was offensive to me. The assistant at the zoo was offensive. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say here. Not funny.
We want you to say. No,
I want whoever's tapping on their microphone to stop tapping on their microphone. That's what I want.
That's me. I'm nervous because I hated this so much.
Well, it's not really here.
That never. I never liked when somebody likes a movie that I detested, but I could not wait for it to be over.
I was wholly prepared for this.
It was
reality.
awful.
I knew you were gonna hate it.
Yeah, it's god awful. It doesn't hold up at all.
Well, there you go. You said this movie had tenderness, but did it have time and love? Ha ha! Time, love, and tenderness. I'm thinking that this movie, classic Michael Bolton. Don't forget him.
Classic Michael movie, anyway.
That is so indicative, Eric, of the movie. You're right. It's not that funny. I want to laugh. I really believe that the Adam Sandler's Happy Madison, again, and Travis was saying Sandler movies, really, let's talk mostly Happy Madison movies, they are a certain type of film and you know what to expect. So that's cool. And I think that it will always speak to younger dudes. Maybe some women will get emotional. It's a rom-com. They're like, oh, that's nice. I wish I'd love more. Because there's so many bad husbands and partners in our country. There are. And that will always leave a lot of women longing and wanting more. That doesn't mean that there's not men who are longing for more as well. I don't mean to imply that. But in this film, it's a rom-com about a woman who's having a hard time. And Adam Sandler's going to change his ways for her for the better. And it's so beautiful. It's a beautiful concept, but it's not funny. And when it's not funny, it's not funny. So, I love, you brought up Forgetting Sarah Marshall. That movie's funny.
Oh, why?
It's got a lot of good lines. The dialogue is funnier. If you compare those two films, for example, as Hawaii movies, it's just a funnier film than this one.
Absolutely.
It's also a movie about heartbreak and breakups too, and a guy who's trying to recover in a different way than Sandler is. But in the end, Sandler's movies are for immature dudes, and we will always have another generation, another round of immature dudes coming up. So even when he brings out the grown-ups and he keeps going with more Happy Madison movies, the Ridiculous Six, all these stupid-ass movies, which are meant to be just stupid and silly. There's just going to be more dudes coming up who are like, before they mature and realize that, that's not funny anymore, like us, because we're in our 40s. But when you're 18, 16, 21, dude, that's fucking hilarious. And that's how it's going to be. So, I get it. Good job. Keep it up. But this movie doesn't hold up. So,
all right, we got there. There's a long road to get there, but we got there.
A long day.
Addressing other
Jesus
movies.
Christ is coming over tonight.
But I figured, I'm not surprised by Eric's ruling. I'm a little surprised by yours, Mike, but especially if you're wanting it to be funny. Yeah, this movie is, I will agree with you. I didn't laugh much watching this movie. I'm entertained watching the movie, but I don't laugh a lot.
I think Contagion is more entertaining than this film.
Well, I think that's the problem. Like,
not as funny.
When a lot of it is supposed to be funny and it just isn't. It's just awkward.
Yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot of that, especially in the first half hour. I'll grant you that. It's particularly dealing with anything related to his work. Yeah. All right. Eric.
So what's happening?
Eric won't be with us next week.
Sadly, no.
Well, I think you're going to be really sad. So we went round and round on trying to get some sort of guest host, and then we didn't really get one. And then I got one at the last second here, right before we went on the air. I called. I made phone calls. and got a hold of someone, a friend of the show. Dave Horning will be our guest host next week.
No shit.
Dave Horning. I'm like, we're going to be recording really soon, so I need you to text me 45 minutes at the most. What movie? He's like, I know exactly what movie I want to do. I said,
he's been waiting for this.
He's been waiting. He knows exactly what movie he wants to do. Eric, you're going to be really sad. You're going to be really disappointed that you're not going to be here for this, especially after the joy of doing 50 First Dates. We're
saving this one.
Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh, we are. Oh, okay.
Finally happening.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, look, I guess
to beat last week's record on the awkward title reveal.
Well, now Eric doesn't have to ever watch it, which
now
is
I'll never watch it.
Oh, don't be too disappointed because he offered to do it once and you said no. No one cares. Never forget, he offered to do it once.
We offered to do it as a 200th episode.
No, he offered to do it 50 episodes ago.
For what? Why did he offer it and not choose it, though? I don't understand.
I can't remember what the reason was, but it was
that makes no sense. If he wanted to do it, he could have picked it.
I think we were trying to pick for our year anniversary. We ended up not doing anything special for it or picking a special movie for it. It was our fourth year or our third year, and Eric suggested, okay, I'll finally do it. And you said no one cares. But
does Dave still want us to put next week's episode in today's show notes? Or
oh boy.
All right, show's over. Eric, Travis, Mike, everyone go to bed. Next week, Freddy Got Fingered. Dave will be here. cinemapod@gmail.com. Talk about Build a Movie. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.
The nympho is the state bird of Ohio.
Some asshole, something about an asshole.